2025 at the Esports World Cup live in Riyadh. Let's see what buffs they start on. It looks like Endoryu is on his orange, facing off against Kyrie on the blue side, starting off on his purple. Same side of the map.
Is this the right side then? Is this way? Oh, whoa, over. Okay. This is the early action that we're all used to seeing. Pluto could be in trouble, taking a couple shots. He does walk away, gets stunned. 1 HP. Suns won't be able to get it. I don't know if Keyboy was really thinking about it. He has the flicker, but they'll go ahead and just, that's a start for them. They at least get a little bit of priority here. You can see what's happening around the jungle, though.
This is the correct side of the jungle to start for Endoryu. He knows that with the mid lane pushing up, Kyrie can instantly invade. But it really boils down to, can you make the correct decisions, right? Endoryu also, he's not immediately starting the vertical jungle in the first place. He quickly is taking away the neutral camps. He knows that he can't take absolutely everything, but at this point, he will take what he can get. Oh no, he's also going to be denied the crab. Endoryu knows he's going to be down in levels, especially when you're up against Kyrie, considering that the mid lane doesn't have that sort of pressure. He's going to depend on Little Wanderers. He's going to depend on River Crabs, ideally the EXP River Crab, which I'm pretty sure Endoryu, after this invade, is going to look for.
And so he's going on that side right now. This might be a play for them to make. It wasn't there. So does hit the level 4 anyway. And, you know, that's the thing. It's interesting that the Hanzo does come through, because when we saw it a few times, well, Kyrie's going to just make his way on up here. They zone them out. But when the Hanzo is popped up, I'm not sure so much, you know, over in Malaysia, but when it did pop up in the Philippines, there was times where it was good, but it was good at just a specific thing. Putting pressure, getting a pickoffs, and being able to convert a kill here. Bluto does take some damage. I don't think he escapes this time as first blood goes in the hands of Kyrie. Bad Caught now in trouble, zoned out by Loopy. Dark Wave to bring him back. There's the slams down for the Infernal Pursuit. They got the job done, and now the Turtle will slowly go down here as they take more just for Kyrie here.
Oh my god, Kyrie, dude, ONIC is so smart. Kyrie understands exactly what Endoryu wants to do. That's why they're trying to deny as many of the neutral creeps alongside the river as possible. Why he's rotating so early on when he could have continued his invasion down on bot side.
Oh, good use of the Tsunami Slam. Gonna bring him back. And Endoryu has no choice but to go back.
Yeah, at least they know that Keyboy doesn't have the Tsunami Slam, preventing potential dives on the bottom side of the map. And I think right now, Pluto, he's going to have to take so much damage, right? Because they want Bad Caught to have a good time up in the EXP side of things, he's going to be a prime target for ONIC to continuously attack. So, if we're talking about alt-timers, oh god, Bad Caught.
They want to fight for this final slash used on Keyboy, but they just disengage. All that for the Lithwander.
Yeah, because ONIC is like, no, we're not letting Endoryu get to play the game.
Yeah.
We're going to take away all the river, then we're going to slowly start encroaching on your territory, steal away your green camps. If we get a buff, that's always good, but we don't mind you having the buff because Kyrie has already developed a level lead 3 minutes into the game.
That's so going back to what I was saying earlier with the Hanzo specifically, that's sort of, you know, one of the things is like, even if he's down at some point, you can actually still convert kills, but I think that is going to be difficult in our current meta. Because it has shifted a little bit here. He's going to do some hits to Kyrie. Soul Snatch, not going to do anything on a tanky hero like this box shot.
He does negative damage to Kyrie. Negative until he gets the Trinity build done. And I think that's the big issue, right? Kyrie literally knows that his base damage and his base health, his base defenses, everything about this Bakshia hero is so nasty that he does not care. Sure, take away your buff. I don't care. I'll take everything around it. And eventually this is going to compound into a 2-level lead, getting closer to the 7-minute mark. But we'll see, right? Because Virtus.pro, they need to be very intelligent about their fights. So far, Lutpi is putting on quite the performance, right? He is able to not only handle Bad Caught in the lane, but is getting first motion as well.
With this Turtle coming up, though, it looks like they're going to go for this rotation. So VP wants to fight. Tsunami Slam going to be able to find the target. Pluto could be in trouble here. Quite low and already. Endoryu jumping in, has to return already. But with the final slash, Loopy gets dragged into it, but we'll get him with the Infernal Pursuit anyway. The worst target you want to follow you back to your body if you're this Hanzo.
Mad respect to Lutpi. He's getting a lot of important Infernal Pursuits up, but that Dark Wave usage is looking better from the last time we've seen him play this Fovia. So far, so good for ONIC ID as they continue their routes. This is only going to get more difficult for Andoryu, because every time he uses his ult, he needs to get some kind of resources from ONIC side. Ideally a battle spell, but most likely the max he can get is the Tsunami Slam. Because now ONIC ID, they recognize, okay, Andoryu's at that point where he's probably already finished his first item. If he goes for that second item, doesn't really matter to Kairi. It's only the third item that matters. The person that they can punish is whoever doesn't have a Purify. In this case, Pluto.
Tsunami Slam again. Pluto getting caught. This is going to be time and time again when this happens. Every time the Tsunami Slam is up, Keyboy doesn't need the flicker to make it happen. And this is why we were talking about in the draft with the Arlots. It has not been a very good hero to pick up, just with the case of this. Even Keyboy taking a lot of shots here. He's actually just zoning out Super Igorka. So it looks like they'll get at least a tier 1 there. Keyboy does go down. They still fight for this. I think buff was secured.
Buff was secured, yes. Very nicely done by Kairi, but they're going to re-engage.
Oh, they're going to re-engage. Pluto goes in with the final slash. He's able to find Sands. Sands goes down. A good pickup for Bulmer. And now, breaking it out, Loopy will join the fight with Severo as Badcott falls. They're still on this side of the jungle, but VP does find something in the exchange.
Beautifully played, honestly. Very beautifully played by Pluto. He knew that he was going to get compromised unless he makes a play of his own. Uses that Flicker final slash to catch out Sans. Because keep in mind, the big volatile point for the side of ONIC ID really is Sans. He could have taken a Purify to try and protect himself, but no. Instead, now some arrows fine, right?
Oh, I did. They would get him, man.
I was about to eat my words there.
Yeah, Severo also taking a breath. Pluto in trouble again. Won't they be able to escape that as the Dark Wave brings him back? So even this, I guess this is just going to be the experience for Pluto. He's going to have to deal with this. Bober and then that Feathered Airstrike. ONIC wanted to go for it. Keyboy does have the Tsunami Slam, so Turtles up. This is going to be a free one for ONIC to take. They'll be 3 for 3 for the Turtles.
And Kairi, despite the level lead that he had on Andoryu, Andoryu is not wasting any time. He is literally trying to find any bits of farm. He knows he cannot contest these neutral objectives until that Trinity is done. So now he's heading back up, and you can tell that he's even calling for his teammates to actually try and get information on what is still available in his jungle before he moves. If not, I think he would have, tried to clear bottom side as soon as possible.
So he's just in that position where it's like, let me get to my Trinity as fast as possible so that I can be a threat to maybe Severo. Oh, hold on. Bulmer. Oh, again, Severo comes in, pops off with a heavy crossbow. Will be able to pick up a kill. Now Andoryu trying to hold on to this tier 1 in the mid. They would use the final slash. Andoryu goes back quite low. Kairi around the corner, but Pluto to follow. Now the mid turret goes down. Badcott in trouble as well as a full force of ONIC is in the jungle. VP has nothing to gain here.
All right, we need to pull up the item list. Why are they so tanky? Is it because Virtus.pro is too far behind, or are they already completed their second items? And it looks like they've completed. Oh my goodness. Loopy and Severo have a ridiculous lead.
Okay, Keyboy could be in trouble. Oh, they're trying to run him down, and Dora has to return back to his body. So getting close. At least there's some progress there. But as they fall further behind, you're 5,000 go behind, you can only do so much if you're Andoryu, so you have to start relying on where else can we focus on. Super Igorka, has he had enough time to farm up? Pluto has had one hell of a time this Arlot, but he's still going for those plays. He's still trying to set up the final slashes. And honestly, at a certain point, it could just take one. Andoryu now on Loopy, but that's not the target you want to go for. Kairi might go ahead and re-engage this fight. Does fight Badcott, but Pluto, I don't think you want to commit to this one.
Yeah, right now, ONIC, this mid-game is so powerful. It's too strong. Their frontliners are just too thick. Kairi's only job is to make sure that Andoryu and the rest of the members of Virtus.pro are going to feel depleted of resources, right? He is supposed to be a giant sandbag, as Lupti and as well as Severo have continuously found small advantages to get further ahead.
Well, they're going to start up the Lord here, half health already. VP trying to get here in time, but they're going to be way too late. So they'll just have to defend. Loopy does jump in, but again, they'll just force VP off of the jungle. They'll have to pull something amazing out to go ahead and defend. Again, they still have the shields. They can still clear things out. But ONIC, they'll definitely be knocking on the base turrets here.
Bobber, he needs a third item. Yeah. We're seeing that Super Igorka at least finally gets that Malefic Roar, right? He's got the 3 item he needs, but he needs the big chunkies. He needs somebody who's able to apply damage, whether it be Andoryu, but he can only do it on one person at a time. But most importantly, Bobber, who again only has the Glowing Wand. Like, he needs more than this. At least the Holy Crystal, at least the Divine Glaive, something to kind of cut through the members of ONIC.
It's crazy. Again, you know, at this point, you only got that one item on the Farsa. Yeah, you can still do some damage with the Feathered Airstrike, but you're losing that advantage. Pluto, okay, uses the final slash. He's going to get tossed in, slammed down into the jungle as Pluto is gone for the 6th time. Lord is still up. The shields are in the mid and top are up. They'll clean out the Lord for now. Andorra's going to jump in, get a little bit of shots off. Soul Snatch isn't enough on Severo. So ONIC playing this 10k gold lead will now set their sights on the mid turret. VP still waiting for Pluto up. They might have to force them to fight anyway. Badcott taking a ton of damage. Andorra jumping in after they bring Sands forward. He gets out of there though. Still going to be shooting off as Badcott is stuck onto him, but Badcott just trying to buy time as he falls next. ONIC wins that one.
Yeah, ONIC has played the draft extremely well. The fact that they got Kalia for themselves is making sure that even if Glue is able to stick onto you, it really doesn't matter, right? You can top them up. You can make sure that they stay alive in a lot of these fights. And look, he's so tanky. He's 2-0-6 at this point, and he even has a Twilight armor purchased for himself, knowing that if you try and burst me down, good luck. I have natural damage reduction.
Yeah, it's looking really grim here already. You know, we've seen teams turn things around before, so we can't say that for VP it's completely done. But they've had to funnel so much into, you know, Andorra to go ahead and catch up. He has maintained his levels. Even itemization-wise, he's okay. But when you have to go and put yourself in a position where it's like, we need to be able to defend our base, but then even your biggest artillery mage, Bulber, doesn't have the items. Oh, damn, Andorra's gone. Gets caught out. A great response and find from Kyrie.
I think this is a checkmate angle for ONIC ID, right? They can siege very, very well. They can guarantee ults coming in from Virtus.pro as soon as they get close to those inhibitor turrets. And now with the Lord spawning, right, there's no reason for ONIC to try and push any further. They'll let that wave build up on that top side. There's no point taking it as well. They want Virtus.pro to actually walk out from the base, walk out and try and contest for this, which again, they're probably not going to do. 9.4k lead, 12-2, like there's no reason to do so. They have to freeze it in front of their turrets as well.
Yeah, you're just going to see them just wait there. Well, never mind. They're going to go towards the jungle, maybe just to get the orange buff. They don't want to get caught out here, so it looks like that's going to be the case, at least to secure them a buff. I don't know how much that's going to help them on this defense, though. Massively behind, they're going to lose the purple. So for VP, they're in a tough position. I don't think they've had enough time. I don't think they've had enough options to get back in fighting form of this game. And ONIC, definitely with this Lord pushing in, will want to end the game here.
How bad of a mistake would ONIC have to make at this point? They would need Keyboy to use the Tsunami Slam on either Badcott or maybe Andorra in his ghostly form, right? Yeah. Kyrie would be out of position. No, he would still be in the front. It's very difficult for him to be out of position, but that means that Sans and as well Severo need to get caught by the final slash after the Tsunami Slam.
See if they can pull it off. Lord still up, takes down the mid turret. Top turret still standing, and right now VP just trying to clear this out. ONIC doesn't want to push it just yet. They're going to wait for those waves. They weren't exactly the way they wanted to go ahead and sync up. They could still start a fight with Keyboy, but as they wait for these waves to go ahead and push in to take this next base turret up top down, the wave down bot still quite a far away. There's the flicker forward. They'll get the Tsunami Slam. Andorra, the final slash was already used, but Andorra trying to run back to heal up. Pluto's gone, Badcock's gone. The next target is the base as ONIC looks to end the game in a swift manner. Under the 14-minute mark, they'll clean things up and take game one.
Wow, this is a really scary ONIC. A good draft, but the tactical precision in this game was ridiculous. They were waiting for the right conditions, and it was all banking on the fact that Pluto is playing on an Arlet, but he's also using Flicker, and he's the main reason why they would either win or lose, and they wanted to guarantee that it was going to be a win.
Yeah, that pretty, and as expected, because of the draft picks, what Virtus.pro ended up with at the center of the map. ONIC, it was up to them to not drop the ball on this one, and as you mentioned, they were just so precise. No rotation, skill, and commitment wasted. They were looking for trades, they were looking for sure wins, and they got it. every single time. There was not much Virtus.pro could do at the map.
Lutpi is playing today really hot. I gotta give it to him. You know, some of the past couple of days, people have been quite questioning whether he can get back into form, and I think that Lutpi is still looking very, very nice. But the tactical supremacy of ONIC, making sure that the river was an uncontestable point. The starting point for Andoryu was good, but the adaptation from Kyrie, foreseeing if he started on this side, what value can he take to generate a level lead early on, 3 minutes into the game?
Yeah, again, you can, from these highlights, you see just how much of a struggle it was from the beginning, and towards the end there for VP, it was very one-sided for ONIC, and I think that's the best way to put it. It was just such a tactical execution from the lineup that they had. They layered things really well, and the fact that you have pretty much this innate tankiness in this lineup between Loopy on the Phoveus and then Kyrie on the Baksha just gives you so many options to throw yourself at VP.
Yeah, they threw themselves in such a way that it was just, everything was so calculated that for Virtus.pro, again, it's when your roamer is losing and dying that frequently, it is difficult for all parts of the map, especially when your glue is your secondary roamer. Dare I say, in lineups like these, he sort of eventually evolves into the main roamer of the team. But with Arlott so behind, that means the glue will just eventually get taken down as well, because the other team has already gotten so much farm, so much items, and this continues this trend of really great Kimi games for day number 5.
Yeah, no, I think that Sans and Keyboy played a strong game. It was on the onus of both Bobber as well as Badcott to really kind of hold out. And I think we didn't get to see much of that, right? Even Badcott was actually honestly, the fact that he was losing lane to the Phoveus was interesting enough, because he only started losing as soon as Lutpi got that first initial point. He found a good trade against Badcott, forced him into level 3, level 4 scenario, and then immediately Lutpi made impact on first turtle fight.
Yeah, a lot of this, even down to Bober struggling. Like, he had, just at the end, he picked up the Divine Glaive, but he had that one item for the longest time. Like, the Feathered Airstrikes weren't even doing anything to this composition from ONIC. So, you just lose so much of that firepower, and you're forced in these situations where you also have a very specific plan with the jungler that they brought up for the Hanzo. And even then, it's like, who does he go for? Because he's going on Kyrie, he's going on Loopy. It's like you're not going to be able to, even with the Trinity, easily get those pickoffs that we usually see from Hanzos.
There needs to be a bit of a, at this point, desperate shift in priorities for Virtus.pro in terms of the draft. At first I get like, okay, pick up the Farsa earlier, but then they needed a much stronger pick for the side of Andoryu, knowing that they were already going up against Baksha at that point, was most likely going to the jungle. So hopefully we get to see Virtus.pro recalibrate, because at this point there's not much to say for ONIC to fix. It's at this point it's just like, you're doing great, honey. Just keep it up. Like, there's nothing much that you need to change. You guys are doing great. Everything is going right for them.
I mean, I don't know if great is the word. I feel like VP, they need to pick their poison at this point, right? Because it's clear in the draft that they're most worried about Mr. Kyrie himself, the handsome jungler himself, import of a lifetime, amazing pickup from ONIC ID from years ago, considered to be one of the best. But he is flexible. That's the problem. There's a lot of faith in the side laners, in Severa, in Lutpi, and I think that BP, if they're going to go for anything, trust that Andoryu can go toe-to-toe in Kyrie mechanically, because their side laners need to have a leg up on their opponents.
All right. I think we've already gotten to iron out the things that Virtus.pro need to work on. We're going to discuss it a little bit more here, but before we move on with the draft, we have a very special guest with Eterna right now. It's Delar.
Thank you, casters. We're here with General Delarski. He's in the building right now.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys. Kumusta?
Okay lang.
Good. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something complicated, and I was just about to say I don't speak Tagalog. I was just kidding. But anyway, it looks like both ONIC are now fighting for their tournament lives here, going through the lower brackets, 2-1, and they might not even come out of this alive. Right now, it's looking good for ONIC ID, but were you there for the preparations that they went through before MSC group stages?
Yeah, at that time I'm there, especially in their boot camp. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, that's
You don't
it.
want to explain anything else?
Kaya
So
niya,
help me.
Kaya biasa doang gitu. Preparation niya kaya di peha gitu.
Why are you speaking in Indo? Now I have to translate. He said it was normal training that went through when they were in Indonesia? Because they were there for like a couple weeks, right? So what was that like specifically? Like, did they do like synergy training, or was it just purely scrims?
I think in terms of in-game like strategy, I think they are almost same. But in terms of outside game, like mereka ganyaman banget gitu. Kayak ganyaman kalau makanan di Indo kayak gitu.
Oh, they weren't comfortable with the food.
Yeah.
So ONIC PH didn't like Indonesian food.
They also like, but it's different from if kalau kamu comfortable kan. Kaya lebih bagus performance lah gitu.
Okay, but it's different food from the Philippines, and that's why they weren't performing as well because of the food. Lars, stop you're confusing me so much. We're gonna start speaking in Tagalog very, very soon. But what is your personal confidence level for both ONICs right now to make it to knockouts?
I think right now they are different and they are really prepared, especially game 1. Their lineup is really good. It's so hard to beat that lineup.
What about for ONIC PH? Do you think that they're gonna make it to knockouts too?
Yeah, kayaknya kemarin ako lihat mereka mukanya kaya langsung mahumain gitu. Jadi
okay.
Kayaknya mereka mau balas dendam gitu.
So he's quite confident for ONIC PH because looking at the expressions, they seemed like they were really ready to do their next matchup.
Yeah.
So that will be against Homeboys.
Yeah.
So you think it will be ONIC PH moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's an easy game.
Oh, easy game. You think it's going to be an easy game? Do you think it's good for them that they had to go through this lower bracket run?
Yeah, for kalau dari ako, yeah, bagus kalau ada kaya moment gitu biar lebih panas gitu.
Okay, so he thinks that it's good that they went to the lower bracket so they're more heated, they're warmed up for their next upcoming battles, perhaps in the knockouts if they do make it through. Now, which team do you think would pick ONIC from the 2-0 bracket? You're aware of how things are going to go in the knockouts, right? So 2-0 teams will be able to pick from the 2-1 pool. Do you think that there's a particular team that stands out to pick out ONIC?
Kayaknya nggak ada soalnya ONIC itu ngeri banget, especially kalau di playoffs gitu.
Oh, okay. So he thinks none of the teams will actually choose to pick either ONIC because there's specialties when it comes down to
Playoffs.
See, you understand English. He's making me work, man, Dlarsky. So, do you have a message for ONIC ID right now who is still fighting for their tournament lives?
Semangat aja, soalnya mereka udah tahu ngapain apa gitu. Jadi semangat dan I will always support you.
So just keep fighting because they already know what to do anyway. So he just wants to share good luck towards them. But what about ONIC PH?
ONIC PH, semangat, especially Kelra. Soalnya dia sekarang lagi ada sakit kan. Jadi semangat dan cepat sembuh. Yes.
But you're giving an Indonesian... you don't want...
Itu dia bisa ngerti.
Okay, Kelra can speak Indo now.
Yeah,
so technically what he was saying was good luck to everyone, especially Kelra, because right now he's not feeling very, very well. So hopefully he can bounce back in the next upcoming match. You're really like ngerjain me, ya? Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll kerjain you.
Harus.
Okay, I'll ask you one more thing before we go. Why do you think that in this meta, it's so easy to go for comebacks?
Indo meta?
Right now in this meta.
Yeah, in this
it's so
meta.
easy for comebacks.
Soalnya rata-rata tim kayak mainnya kayak brawl gitu.
Oh, so it's because of the brawl style meta that is happening right now. All right, thank you so much, Larsky, for making me work. I appreciate you. And we're going to throw it over back to our casters to see who will be able to head to the knockouts.
Let me just explain what happened. That was a Filipino who spoke more Indonesian in that interview than our Indonesian reporter in the English broadcast. If that isn't proof of we have totally become a global game, I don't know what is. Fantastic interview by Eterna and Delar. They're always great to hear from Delar.
That's truly the ASEAN spirit here. Not just Asian, this is ASEAN through and through. I don't know when he gave up his Filipino passport for the Indo one, but hey, that's just me. I'm just going to make an assumption.
I feel a little inadequate now because I can only speak a little bit. No, I'm fluent in Filipino.
You are? I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you on the English broadcast.
Champagne.
Yeah, I think we are actually a multilingual table.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
English, Filipino, Bahasa.
Sana
What else?
all, dude.
I wish that was a sticker in game. Just show your face. Sana all, dude. All right. So as we talk about and wish for the stickers that we had in game and those voice lines, I think it's now down to discussing the draft, because clearly after game number 1, heading into it, though there was a very specific window for that Hanzo to work out, which side he would go for, ONIC responded to it very well. I think Virtus.pro cannot go for crazy ideas here. They really need to double down on some fundamental picks that gives them a bigger chance of being able to outplay ONIC.
I mean, starting with not having to ban so many of the junglers, to be fair, and or you can play these types of junglers too, it is hurting them indirectly. That's what I personally feel. But again, Kairi is such a big driving force as to, like, if we can narrow him down to just the utility, maybe we can give an option. But now they've adjusted, right? We're seeing that there is going to finally be that Boxia ban, which might open up some options for Bober. But here we go. First picks, 1-1 goes through.
Yikes. I think just say that now. Yikes.
I was going to say, wow, the 1-1, which we're usually seeing banned out, goes first pick over here for ONIC. So, and we know this is a power pick for them too. They can go ahead and play into. Now, VP, what do they do with this? Because there's also really good options for them to pick up here on this first swing. You still have the Phoveases. You still have the Kalea if they wanted to. I'd love to see them take the Kalea. I think they'd have a better time on that for Pluto. But they do take the Phoveas away from Lutbi, and then they pick up the Kimmy as well, which is, again, there's so many good options.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the best two for them.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking into the 1-1, you really need a good balance of crowd control and damage, whether it's scaling or pokes initially. I think VP now are still having to decide whether or not they will go through with their tanky fighter junglers, or this might force Andorio to consider picking up an assassin. Because the 1-1 is such a high-profile target, you need down fast.
They're going to go with the Fredrin this time around alongside with the Kalea. Interesting to say the least that at least for Lutbi, I thought they might want to consider getting the glue early on, but that would just close out the very first phase for ONIC's side, right? So they want to make sure that they can dig a little deeper for Lutbi. I don't think Arlet is going to get touched this game in particular, which begs the question, what does he play at this point for the EXP line? Is he looking to sandbag? I mean, Uranus is still on the table, and I think that's totally fine for a lineup like this. But they need a mid laner that has some form of damage. We're going to see, once again, it's going to be the Granger for the side of a Super Igorka. Now we go into the second phase. What does the bans look like? I'm guessing the Farsa is going to go.
Yeah.
Are there any other mid laners that they should be worried about?
Kadita,
What was it say?
considering
Kadita?
that it's
Yeah.
ONIC and it's Sands.
Maybe they do Farsa Kadita.
Farsa, Kadita.
Won't that be leaning a little bit too much to the mid lane bans, though?
That's the thing.
I mean,
that's the
previously
thing.
they did Farsa Kagura.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I'm okay with Kadita in particular, because at least then you don't get punished too hard by things like Phoveas. You have ways to kind of like get in and out of the fights without, you know, getting jumped on by the Infernal Pursuit. Like, for an example, Kagura, it's like, yeah, I got hella mobility, but I'm just adding more charge to the Phoveas passive anyways.
If VP suddenly show up with an unexpected mid lane ban similar to like a Valentina, we might be expecting a Tigreal pick down the line for them. But again, that's just a very specific scenario.
I don't think it's that bad. Oh, the Gatot is already banned out from ONIC's side. It's going to hurt VP a lot. I want to see them play something like Cho. But the only problem is that, like, your key targets would be, usually most of the time it's going to be like the mid lane on top of the gold lane there, but with 1-1 it's pretty impossible to freely get a kick. Hilda gets banned. Are they going to do it again? Are they going to try and go for the Hanzo one more time?
A little bit too
hope not.
greedy, yeah.
I hope not.
Got Creamy Granger. No.
Yeah. Give me Granger and then something like a Hanzo. Because even we saw that in the last game, like a lot of the resources they went to Andorio because, you know, they were just so far behind, and it made Bober have a really hard time building up on the Farsa. So I don't know. Maybe I would like to see I don't know if they want to do utility versus utility. We know that Andoryu is capable of that. You can see there is a Hayabusa being banned out, though.
Yeah, it's like wolves in their ear or something. It's crazy. It's crazy how accurate these bans are. Very targeted against VP's side. And especially, it's a really good read when you see the Hilda come through. Almost immediately after the Farsa. So let's see now. How is this going to go? Because the mid and as well as gold is already predetermined by VP, right? So do you want to show off your jungler now and then wait until the very end to see what your support's going to be? Or do you just lock in your support now and tell ONIC, like, whatever, pick whatever you want? Because there's really not a lot of options in terms of the jungle at this point.
Yeah.
All of them are actually kind of bad. You go lane, you're going to get picked up. You go, what?
Wow.
What?
I mean, you did mention the Cho earlier for the crowd control. The other hero that does what Cho does in terms of getting vision is the Grok, but that's going to be tough against what the ONIC's bringing to the table now. They go for the Lapu Lapu for loot B.
Are they going to play Uranus jungle or something?
For VP?
For VP.
Yeah, they might be leaning towards it.
Because this Grok is interesting. It's a bit of a hit or miss, right? Because if Kalia sticks on top of you, she literally waits for you to, wait for your power of nature to time out, then just grab you. That's the big problem. It's a great disengage to it. Wow, Valentina from ONIC's side.
They want the wild charge too, man.
Oh man.
I mean, that's why I was thinking Virtus.pro would even want to consider a Valentina ban earlier. But okay, ONIC.
I don't get it. Why would they compromise the mid lane like this? They could have gone for the Kadita anyways, and it should have been fine.
I feel like that's also just a confidence pick. You get a second setter alongside that Kalea and the Lapu. You have 3 setters now, essentially, for the side of ONIC. I think this feels like Sans telling Coach, hey, I'm not bothered by the trading. I'll be okay.
I would have preferred like a Yeve or something. Create a box. Yep, there we go. The Uranus jungle at the very end. Oh, this one's really tough.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of VP's draft here, though. I think it's going to be hard to pull off. And like you said, there's a lot of crowd control options for ONIC to utilize. If
somehow, some way, Virtus.pro gets a much better early game compared to ONIC here, they get to punish them. If they get to lock down Sans, who might just be more susceptible to overstepping as he is a Valentina, this could be good for VP. A lot of possibilities to consider. So Gideon, Naisu, you guys have to take over.
Yeah, thank you, Ramar. Oh, this is match point for ONIC Indonesia. VP, really interesting draft. We could see the Uranus coming through eventually. I don't think they wanted to go for it, especially when you're up against that Fredrin. Sure, you're thinking about the Hanzo being that late game carry to get you through the end, but it's that mid game that's going to be a huge problem. Right now, the onus is on ONIC ID to try and close out this game a little earlier than we would have liked. The scaling is not bad from the side of Virtus.pro. Let's jump right into this game. ONIC Indonesia on the blue side facing off against Virtus.pro on the red side, fighting for tournament lives.
It's going to be, once again, a interesting showcase because so far, statistically, this Uranus in the jungle has not been too hot. Actually, just in general, it's kind of fallen off a little bit, struggled, and this is going to take some work for Virtus.pro to make this composition work. It's been a long time since we've seen the Grok come into play too, but Pluto maybe will have more of a, I guess, a better time on the Grok if he can get the setups in comparison to the Arlot where you're just throwing yourself at them. But I think either way with the Kalea across from you, you're going to have it's not going to be fun.
Wait, let's see who wins that retry battle. No, go back to the retry. Yeah. Let's keep our eyes on this. Who wins this one? This is so important for Andoryu. And it's Kyrie who wins it out.
Didn't win it out. Jump into Andoryu. He's pretty tanky. Gets cut off. Whoa, Sans. Oh, and hell, and Andoryu's gone too. Kyrie will pick up a kill. This is devastating for VP.
Yep, and even Bobber ended up dying. That's why this was so important for, oh my god, Keyboy nearly died there. This was so important for Andoryu to win out in that retry battle against Kyrie because there's no leaving this, right? Battle spells are still available for both Sans and Keyboy, who again, we're struggling to wrestle for control against Bobber and as well as Pluto, but knowing that they already used the battle spells early on, I think Sans, he's playing a mean Valentina game against Bober.
Yeah, very tough to go down that early because, you know, as we were talking in the draft too, it's like, yeah, it's a Valentina, but Sans, the way he's playing, he doesn't care. He's willing to go for the trades. Does have a level 4, so he can go ahead and take one of these ultimate. He did take the wild charge fight for the first turtle. Gonna break out. Sands getting a position. There's the jump through from Loopy. He'll take out Bober already. And still with the Infernal Pursuit, but Andoryu will get the turtle. But Embracer's Wrath will come down on multiple. Still going for it. Sands gets taken out. Now Keyboy and Kyrie also. Loopy goes down. This is a fight all for VP. A triple kill for Andoryu.
Beautifully played. That's what we want to see from Badcott. At a sliver of his health, he turns it around, and Pluto finally hitting the level 4 just in time for the big turnaround against ONIC Indonesia. You can see that right now, Andoryu, this is why Uranus is a big problem, especially when your opponents don't have the raw burst damage to 100 to 0 him. If he's able to linger around in these fights, now with the lead against Kyrie, 2 levels might I add, he will get right in front of his face.
This is what we're going to see here. He's actually going to be a nightmare in the early game. So Kyrie does get his orange. It's going to be fine with that, but Andoryu will take more from Kyrie. And like we mentioned, you know, this is a different start for VP that they definitely needed in game 2.
Bober sacrifices a little bit of his own life and even a death to make sure that Andoryu tries to get ahead, get the retreat out of Kyrie early so they can start invading consistently. And now, winning that scenario and getting 3 kills, Andoryu is significantly ahead of Kyrie at this point of time. What helps is that Pluto, this is when Grok actually gets good. Most of the time, Groks from behind don't make a difference unless he times his wild charge to cancel out a majority of abilities in these 5v5s. But now, he's able to walk up into enemy territory, force Kyrie to use that retribution, which works in Andoryu's favor.
He goes in with a flicker right into the wall for Sands. That wild charge used and a flicker down. So Sands has his own wild charge now. They know the timing on this for Pluto, so he's not going to have that for this next turtle coming up.
I hope Sands, he might want to reconsider taking, instead of the wild charge, but actually stealing away the traction pulse coming in from Bober, because he also gets to steal the auto attacks plus that passive, which works in his favor.
Yeah, they could approach that fight this way. They're going to be the ones to start up the turtle here. So still no wild charge just yet for Pluto. They'll play into this anyway. A Tsunami Slam on Andoryu. He's so tanky, though. They have to commit so much. He does go down, and Kyrie gets the turtle. Crossbow of the Tang going to be popped off. Loopy will clean up the kill on Pluto. And now they have the advantage here, numbers-wise. Badcott jumps in, trying to keep them at a disengage. He's going to go in for more. Darkwave will catch Loopy, and Loopy, with the rest of the team, will be able to get away.
They couldn't chase any further. Really nicely played by Loopy, right? He jumps in with the bravest fighter. He's right on top of Pluto. He makes sure that Bober has to respect the distance, but he throws the stun backwards onto Andoryu so he doesn't slip away, because Kyrie was locking him down. He was about to run out of CC. Keyboy already used his resources well. So nicely played for the side of ONIC Indonesia as they punch back, but the gold lead is still not theirs just yet. It's very close, and it's a struggle between the two teams.
Yeah, they did take away that minor lead that VP was holding on to. 1.5k plus a conceal, and Pluto goes in with a wild charge. We'll see if they respond. A Tsunami Slam, not going to connect that Keyboy was looking for. Still, the double purifies are still up here too. Bober still in the mid lane. They'll keep it together. They lose that turret up top by trying to make this play. I think they want to trade here for the macro. They want to take this tier 1 on the bottom side, and VP puts in the work. They'll get the objective.
They want to, but that was a bit of a mistake coming in from Keyboy. He could have timed his Tsunami Slam a little bit later because he ended up picking up Pluto, right? Super Igorka doesn't lose his Purify, and Pluto still had the anti-CC because he was close to the wall with the power of nature. So well played by Pluto, and I think that at this point, ONIC Indonesia are recognizing, okay, Virtus.pro are here to play. We got to make sure that we win out these scenarios. We don't have as much of a lead that we did in game number 1, but if we're going to come back into this, we need to make sure that Severo is having a good time. His next item, Power Spike, is on the way. He's already got the Wind Talker. As soon as he gets 2 items, we might consider making a play of our own.
Okay, so with that turret going down, we'll see some changing of lanes here too. Severo just trying to get as much as gold as possible. We already saw it in the previous fight. Once he gets that crossbow of Tang airtime up, he is in a good position. Kyrie getting a little more defense. Picks up the Antique Harass. Now this turtle is up. It's been 1-for-1 for both teams here. This will be the fight, the face-off for this third one.
They have to dance around for now. Andoryu is coming in. He's got a level lead on Kyrie.
Would be over here on the backside. There's a Tsunami Slam. Gonna go for Badcott. Badcott jumps on it. Severo's in trouble. Does get the crossbow of Tang off though. Turtle's already secured. Sands still alive, able to get Badcott. And now Andoryu on the run. I don't think they're gonna chase him. 2 fell for VP. Everyone's still alive for ONIC. but the turtle did go to Virtus.pro.
Well played to both squads. Wow, that was almost a clean engagement coming in from Virtus.pro's side. You can see the idea, right? Backhawk gets yoinked. Bobber, he's trying to like create a little bit of space, but Pluto, most importantly, seeing the opportunity, sees the intersection between the Tsunami Slam and more importantly, Severo walking up close to try and make it happen. The damage was there. They needed a little bit more damage from Badcourt to secure that kill, but now this is where it gets dangerous, right? The counter engagement from Lukpi stopping the angles from not only Bobert and actually finding a kill onto him, but denying Super Igorka the Death Sonata shots.
Yeah, Lupi's been doing work still on this Lapu Lapu, really finding the angles. And you know, at this point in the game, when you have this and you're waiting for that first lord to come up in a minute, you just kind of scrape up as much as you can for both sides here to be in a better position to fight for it. But it's been a lot of the decision-making for both sides. You can see this conceal is going to be used. I don't think they catch anyone. Keyboy's job might also just to be, if they can get some battle spells out before that objective take, that's going to be helpful for them. But good trade up here. They'll get another turret as Andoryu takes up the tier 1 on the top side. And that's good for VP. They need this. They need the space to work with this kind of lineup.
Yeah, and Doryu naturally trying to pull attention to himself. He is, well, unfortunately right now ONIC is walking as a squadron, right? Nobody's kind of solo laning by themselves. They're making sure that they have the most amount of coverage while still having options to regroup in case things get bad, because they know Severo is pretty slippery naturally, right? They have to commit flickers if they want to guarantee CC onto Severo's side. However, Lukpi, if he decides to go split up on its own, there's a good chance that Virtus.pro is not going to let that slide for free, right? They're probably going to time it to make sure that he doesn't have the bravest fighter or force him to use it early to initiate for another fight as this Lord spawns.
It's up now. Look at the information that they need, and you can expect ONIC to go ahead and take position. And Doryu still working on his purple. He does secure it, so he'll make his way. I'm not sure if Kyrie's going to want to grab his. The conceal is going to be used. There's the Tsunami Slam, but the engage on Lutfi as well. Mid lane still going to be breaking out. Crossbow Tang isn't close enough to take down Andoryu, but still, Severo finally goes down, and Lupi was chasing Andoryu, but doesn't have enough to burn through this Uranus pick. And now he's in a bad position. He's going to get cut off from the team, and it's ONIC that loses 2 in the fight.
Yeah, the execution from ONIC, very close, but not enough. Super Igorka played that well. Same goes for Bobber. The fact that both of these two didn't die, and they were able to not only get the space, but find the counter engage against ONIC ID. Sans got chunked out the entire time he was going into that wild charge form. Super Igorka was making sure that his damage was applied well.
Oof. And Doryu just showing he is the nightmare right now of Kyrie, taking more from the jungle. And Kyrie is still a couple levels behind here. Sans has been holding on to this wild charge throughout the game. We'll see how they go ahead with this defense. They've lost some turrets. Now they got to deal with this Lord pushing in, and VP finding themselves in a good position to start getting towards the base of ONIC. Again, with this being the first Lord, most likely just gets close to the base. I think it's still going to be cleared out even before we get to the shields here, but VP fighting in the position, fighting with the fact that we have this tanky front line to handle things, and it's more so just keeping Super Igorka alive too. So he's done a great job with positioning in a lot of these fights.
It really, yeah, it really does come to whether or not you can take out the carries from inside of Virtus.pro.
Oh, concealed just to take him off the tier 2. Keyboy has initiated a lot of the fights too. I think now you really have to consider who he grabs with the Tsunami Slam here.
It's too tough because he doesn't have an ideal target. The ideal target's already a Purify, which they can't force out, by the way. But like, you catch Badcard, he's got that Vengeance, right? DR is one of the most powerful stats in the game already, and Pluto has natural anti-CC, so a lot of value to find.
Again, Keyboy jumps on in. He's going to go for the Tsunami Slam anyway. Under the base turret, Badcott pops the Vengeance of the Winner's Crown. Lupi jumping in the fray of all. Badcott finally goes down, and Lupi looking for the target on Super Igorka, as Sans will clean it up. And now with the numbers advantage, they're going to force VP to disengage. ONIC on the defense, and they still hard on to the base turret.
Beautifully played here. Really good stuff. They saw that backcourt was getting kind of like uncomfortably low, so that's when Keyboy takes advantage of the scenario. Even through the Vengeance, he just didn't have enough health currently at that point of time to survive. And I mean, to be fair, the Winter Crown was a really good call, but Severo, smartly enough, not just throwing everything at him, right? He didn't commit the crossbow Tang just yet. He waited it out. And that's when we see the big turnaround.
See if they they still hold on to this mid turret too. So you gotta say, like, Virtus.pro lineup, though, what they have for this composition keeps them in a pretty good fighting form. It doesn't really matter that they lost that gold lead that they had. ONIC ID still has to be very peculiar in how they approach these fights, because once again, like we've seen, if you get that tsunami slam or these setups on the wrong targets and you're not able to get to Super Igorka, then you're gonna be at a disadvantage with just how tanky right now Virtus.pro seems to be.
Yeah, if Game 1 was about tactical supremacy, Game 2 is about team fight prowess. And I think it's hard, right? Because Virtus.pro have a much easier style of composition to play. And I think Pluto, you can tell by his mechanics on this Grok. Yes, Grok is simple, but the timings, his reaction time is so good, making sure that he doesn't get punished too hard, even though we've seen many, many times there's an overload of CC.
It's a crucial lord here to take. They'll go ahead and back off of it. They know Endoryu is right around the corner, and this is not just a lord that they can go ahead and start up, but they're going to start with a tsunami slam anyway on Pluto. Pluto gets terrified and knocked up. He's gone, but Loopy's going to be the follow, so the 1-for-1 for now. Keyboy on the run, and Kyrie. They don't want to force this fight. Sand still holding on to the wild charge. They'll heal back up, and Doryu healthy as well with the rest of VP. So it's a 4v4, the XP for the Roam. How do they approach this fight here?
Suns could have a flank angle.
Oh, Keyboy.
He's lost his conceal, but he's got no tsunami slam. I don't see this happening.
Doryu so tanky. Sans going in with a wild charge if he can pull it off. He's going to get stunned. He goes forward. Still pops it off, but Sans is gone. Not the window that he was looking for. You saw the idea there, but it failed drastically, and now Virtus.pro gets themselves the lord.
The hell was that? He had multiple different lines to wild charge to almost guarantee hitting multiple people. I mean, he held it for like a decent amount of time, but he doesn't have the base health to tank as long as he would like to, and that just didn't make much sense. I mean, Kyrie even engaged for him to create that angle as well.
Yeah, just it's the wild charges seem to be hit or miss on both sides. Pluto didn't even really get to set up the way that he wanted to. But ultimately, Virtus.pro comes out on top of it. They've got themselves this lore to push in with now. This is going to go ahead and charge into the base. So we'll see how they approach this. ONIC ID on the back foot.
They're going to start the siege. I want to see where this wall placement is coming in from Pluto. Okay, it's not too bad. Still looking for an opportunity. So here comes the traction pulse, but no, I don't see the engagement angle just yet. And so far, Virtus.pro very good at utilizing this lore, but they cannot guarantee more than one inhibitor, right? Because if they want to get a second one, they're going to have to engage pretty hard to force the fight against ONIC.
Well, they still have this wave now in the mid lane. Not sure if they'll force this situation from ONIC. There's a tsunami slam. They're going to choose to fight. They get the immortality to go ahead and pop. Actually, Endoryu is gone, and now back out of trouble too. Sans goes in with that wild charge. They get the double to find him in the mid lane. ONIC looks to run him down. Super Igorka trying to win. Pops the win of nature. Severo on the 1v1. He gets the triple and goes on through the wipe out Virtus.pro. And ONIC ID with plenty of time will now focus on this tier 2. You still have more than 10 seconds for Badcott to be up.
Oh my god.
Can they run it down mid?
They're going to try. The next wave is going to spawn. The wave clear is okay. It's not the greatest, but Keyboy's taking on purpose and they're looking to close it out.
ONIC ID, after the fight, after the wipeout, will take the chances for Virtus.pro. They'll get the